potential targets. Those are the ones that are not highlighted on your board. Some of the highlighted names are already going to be on the move, going to new teams. Some able to hold on to their spots before, like Alec Pierce. The Colts hold on to him. A reminder, deals cannot be finalized till the start of the new league year at 4 Eastern on Wednesday. We'll be with you there. But Adam Schefter, let's start with some of the latest news. Mike Evans, the Tampa Bay veteran, finds a new home in San Francisco.
Yeah, Laura, he signed he reached agreement with the San Francisco 49ers, 3-year, $60.4 million deal. Gets that deal done today, leaves Tampa. An emotional departure for Mike Evans leaving Tampa today. A big loss for the Buccaneers, but a big addition for the San Francisco 49ers. Malik Willis is the next player that got a deal done today with the Miami Dolphins. Essentially, they move on from Tua Tagovailoa. Now they get a deal done with Malik Willis, 3 years, $67.5 million, $45 million guaranteed to get that deal done. Miami has its starting quarterback moving forward as he reunites with Jeff Hafley. The Indianapolis Colts keep the wide receiver that they wanted to keep, Alec Pierce, on a 4-year, $116 million deal. That was a priority for them. They get that deal done. He stays in Indianapolis. They transition tag Daniel Jones. Now they get to keep Alec Pierce on that long-term, big money deal for a wide receiver. But because they kept Pierce, they had to trade Michael Pittman to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They flopped draft choices with the Steelers. Essentially, Pittsburgh Steelers then gave Michael Pittman a 3-year, $59 million deal. So Pittman gets a trade and a new deal and a new home as he now plays with DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. And one of the biggest deals of the day, Tyler Linderbaum sets a record for interior offensive linemen. $27 million a year, 3 years, $81 million. The Baltimore Ravens get Max Crosby from the Raiders. Now the Raiders get Tyler Linderbaum, the center from the Baltimore Ravens. This was a player that Clint Kubiak wanted to anchor that line, and they got that done. Meanwhile, the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker, wound up going to the Kansas City Chiefs on a 3-year, $43 million deal that included over $28 million in guaranteed money. The Chiefs get the running back that they've been looking for. It works out very well for them. Seattle has a need at running back, and we'll see what they wind up doing. And Travis Kelce, the Chiefs tight end, is working out to go back to Kansas City. They're trying to work out a deal. Everybody's expected that he would be back. He is going to be back. They're trying to get that deal all taken care of.
It looks like Adam's got another deal cooking there, so he'll update us with that as soon as he gets it. Adam, unbelievable job by you.
Phone hot
this
as hell.
Such a fun day, by the way, for all of us, finding out how the league is going to look going forward. It changes in the blink of an eye, and we're with you for another hour here. Our coverage continues right here on ESPN, all the latest as Adam continues to break news. Reactions here from Ryan Clark, Lewis Riddick, Jeremy Fowler. Dan Orlovsky is joining us there. He's live in Indy. What's up, Dano? We'll get to you in just a moment.
Dan, you like a nerd.
What? You didn't even let him
like
say anything.
Straight nerd, Dan.
Dan, I think you look great.
That city let you out of the closet in Indy.
He's in a different closet now. Okay, Mike Evans, let's focus on that. Soon to be new teammate. He's in a different closet now. Okay, Mike Evans, let's focus on that. Soon to be new team of the Bay. I know, poor Dan. We got him muted. He can't even respond to us ripping on him. All right, Mike Evans opened his career with an NFL record 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He stacks up very well on the NFL's active list, right? The only active receiver with more touchdown catches than Evans is Devontae Adams, and the only one with more yards is DeAndre Hopkins. Dan, when you think about what this is going to look like and now what Kyle Shanahan has at his disposal, what comes to mind?
The red zone. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best play designers and game planners in the NFL, but I think he's the best, along with Andy Reid, down in the red zone, down in the goal line area. And if you think, and RC and Lewis can speak to it better than I don't think there's a ton of corners in the NFL that you can just say, hey, yes, you can go cover Mike Evans down inside that red zone area one-on-one by yourself. So he's still going to be a focused part of their pass game in the middle of the field and working the middle of the field. But you get down in that goal line spot, good luck. And now if you think about it, Kyle Shanahan's going to have this piece that he can move around to attract either one-on-one matchups or attention. And then George Kittle, once he gets back, is going to have more space. Christian McCaffrey going to have more space. McCaffrey was tasked with doing so much last year, all encompassing for this offense. This is a massive addition for San Francisco.
What I think about is you now have a wide receiver that doesn't need a lot of space to catch the football, working alongside an offensive coordinator and head coach that just understands how to create space. And so some of the explosion or the quickness or the ability to create separation that Mike Evans might have lost, it's built in to this offense. And you think about Ricky Pearsall, some of his versatility, ability to go inside and outside, and him getting another year under his belt, what Christian McCaffrey means for this entire offense, and also the ability of Brock Purdy to create second play opportunities. Think about Mike Evans in the scramble drill, understanding how to work with the quarterback, but also being in those one-on-ones to win 50-50 balls. And as you said as well, Dan, when you think about the red zone, the piece that Christian McCaffrey and the way that he's already utilized, the way that works for them, but now having Mike Evans when everything is looking into the backfield to get one-on-ones on the outside.
Yeah, what's interesting for me is the burden that he's going to carry as far as the passing game is concerned here. And I know Jeremy spoke earlier about the fact that Mike Evans may be looking at this situation similar to what Davante Adams experienced when he was in L.A. The problem is, though, Davante had Puka.
Yeah.
Mike doesn't have Puka here. So now at soon to be 33 years old, he's wide receiver number 1 out there right now, as it's presently constructed. Juwan Jennings is a free agent. Ricky Pearsall has only gone into his 3rd season and hasn't really even established himself yet. So Mike he may want this kind of role, and that's great. I think every guy who's been an alpha like he has, when you start off your career with 11 straight seasons of over 1K, you're saying, look, I got it. I've done this. This is who I am. You're also going to be 33. This will be interesting to watch what they do in the draft now, because I think they need to give him more help. I don't know if you just want him being the centerpiece at this point.
It's a receiver-rich draft.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent there. Evans ranks 3rd in red zone targets among active player, trailing only Davante Adams and Travis Kelce. We mentioned Juwan Jennings. You got Pearsall in that room. I mean, Ayuk, he's out of there. What do you think about their plans maybe to add other receivers and just the shape of that room overall?
Yeah, the 49ers are going to get busy. I do expect them to add one other offensive piece. And what's fascinating, to your point, the Bucs had to manage Mike Evans' snaps for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Really. They would take him off the field sometimes on first, second down. It's going to be fascinating to see how Kyle Shanahan schemes him up, but he wants to be schemed up. I sense the last couple of weeks, despite the sentiment for Tampa Bay and all his time there as a Hall of Fame career, he wanted a new challenge, chance to win a Super Bowl with a new team. And he's looking at the blueprint and saying, I'm going out.
The problem with age isn't that you can't do it anymore, is that you can't do it as consistently and as constantly. And so it is going to be some of utilizing him in the moments that are important where he can be of most benefit.
I'm not sure anybody can scheme that up better than Kyle Shanahan,
absolutely.
so I'm pumped to see him in this offense. Also, credit to everything that Mike Evans did in that Tampa Bay community.
Sure.
He was a fixture in so many ways, and now he does get a new opportunity. Let's zero in on Miami's new quarterback. This is a small sample size, but no one had a better QBR than Malik Willis over the last 2 years. On his 115 pass plays, Willis hasn't thrown an interception since his rookie year in 2022, but has only 6 career starts and 6 touchdown passes to his name. Dan, I think a lot of people think about him as this run-first quarterback, but there's a lot he can do with his arm. Those numbers, those small sample size, bear that out. But what do you make of the fit for Willis in Miami?
Yeah, I like it, and it makes a ton of sense, and it's not overly expensive. It's a really smart decision for Miami right now. One, he's going to go down there. Their offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, who comes from Houston a couple years ago with C.J. Stroud, is going to run a very similar system that he played under Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. So you automatically have your starting quarterback that knows a great majority of how this offense operates. He is athletic, there's no question about it, but he has developed to become a very good passer of the football within this offense. Throws it really well down the field in one-on-one opportunities. We obviously saw him on Saturday Night Football in the playoffs late in the season against the Baltimore Ravens, drive the football down in windows. And so I think if you're Miami and you just needed a guy that proved he could play starting quarterback football, but there's still a little bit of unknown of what he exactly is going to be, I think Malik Willis is that guy.
Yeah, now it's on the Miami Dolphins football organization to continue to build out this roster and the system so as to really accentuate this young man's continued development. Because he has given you the glimpses. He has shown you in this kind of system, with this kind of teaching progression, with these kind of weapons, with this kind of running game up in Green Bay, this is how I can excel. This is how I can take the next step. Now you're charged with helping him take the next step. And if you do, and you're able to do that, you've hit a home run. And John Eric Sullivan's going to be looked at as the savior down there. And I'll tell you what, Jeff Hafley's going to be looked at as, hey, man, finally we found our guy, people who understand how to put quarterbacks in position to succeed. Because you're right, that Baltimore game is legit.
Yep.
When you watch that, you go, man, this dude has got it all. Legs, anticipation, calmness, accuracy, arm strength. He's got it all. It's a small sample size, but this is where everyone else has to rally around him.
Do they have enough around him in place already?
Hell no.
Well, that's what I'm curious
Absolutely
about.
not. Right? The Miami Dolphins have a ton of work to do. But what I also like is the contract that they signed him under. We were hearing all of these different numbers being thrown out, that this could be this huge deal. This is a team-friendly deal, and this is a fair deal for Malik Willis. He gets to prove that he can be the franchise quarterback, and now you can add some pieces around him, knowing the cap hit you're going to take by cutting Tua Tagovailoa on June 1st. What I love about this for Malik Willis is being teamed up with Devon Achane. Think about the speed that's going to be in the backfield for the Miami Dolphins, and the way Bobby Slowick can utilize that, move the pocket, give him opportunities for run-pass options. This can be an explosive offense in year one, and we know what we can see from the defense and Jeff Hafley and his ability to get that team or get that side of football playing better.
Yeah, and now the quarterback dominoes can start to fall. Malik Willis was the big one, and the two teams that were in on Willis the most were the Miami Dolphins and Arizona Cardinals with Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur's brother. So familiarity, we talked about that. Now the Cardinals have to pivot because they were in on this. Expect them to look into Jimmy Garoppolo to get a veteran there. That was really the buzz around the NFL last few weeks is Mike LaFleur's guy is Garoppolo. They'll bring him in. Then Minnesota, and the spotlight goes to the Vikings and what they do.
Yeah,
Boy,
you ain't getting rid of me.
Boy, you let Jimmy G loose in Scottsdale, though.
Yeah, I mean, goodness. Scottsdale got talent like that. I'm a little curious, though, if maybe they just hold on to Jacoby Brissett. I mean, he did a nice job there a few times. We'll keep an eye on it. All right, Willis now in Miami. Tua is out. Adam, what do we know about Tua Tagovailoa's future, the market there? If you're working on something, tell me. I'll come back to you.
Yeah, Laura, he's been talking to the Atlanta Falcons, and they have a left-handed quarterback who's coming back from injury, and Michael Penix. That would be a logical landing spot, but obviously he could talk to other teams. We'll see how that shakes out, but certainly Atlanta's going to have interest in Tua Tagovailoa now that he has been released and is a free agent in a crowded free agent quarterback pool. And Laura, I should say here, while we're working away here, there's been a whole bunch of moves. The Green Bay Packers have released their Pro Bowl center Elton Jenkins. Boye Mafe signed a 3-year, $60 million deal with the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Bengals get some pass rushing help. Case Keenum is going back to Chicago Bears in a 2-year, $5.5 million deal to back up Caleb Williams. So the deals are pouring in. And we got another one. Hold on, Laura. Hold on.
Take your time.
Former Chargers defensive end Odafe Owe is going to the Commanders on a 4-year, $100 million deal.
Ooh,
that's big.
Buzz,
Wait. We got to talk about that for a second. So Odafe Owe going to the Commanders figuring a way to fortify that defense. What sticks out to you? Go ahead, Jeremy. You go first.
No, Washington leading up to free agency was in on every position. Like anytime I would talk to anybody about any market, they were in it all. But they had $90 million of cap space. They got Jaden Daniels going into a 3rd year of a rookie deal, so he's cheap. Like, this was the sense that Washington was finally going after it. The roster just wasn't good enough after 2 years under Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. They're filling a ton of holes.
I love this fit, Dan. I saw your face. I think you like it. I don't know what that face meant, though. It was like a mix of blue, steel, and surprise. So what are you thinking?
Yeah. No, I do. Washington needed to get younger. I mean, I don't care what the position was on defense. They needed younger football players on defense. Owe fits that. Owe came off the bench a lot for the Chargers once he got traded. I think he had 7 sacks once he went there off the bench, which is good. That's a lot of money. Obviously, the expectations will rocket ship now that he's going to get paid almost $70 million guaranteed money. But they needed to get younger, and Washington did that.
Yeah, I think the other big piece of it is this is about potential. This is about a guy that was drafted in the 1st round, underachieved in Baltimore, then showed signs of that athleticism and some of the things we thought about his potential when he was drafted. And if you're the Washington Commanders, you have to create a pass rush. You look at the last 2 years under Dan Quinn, they were trying to manufacture the rush by bringing second-level pressure. If he can be one of those players that gets you into the 12 to 14 sack range, he is worth this sort of deal. We know he has the potential, but can he do that as an every down rusher?
Dan mentioned the age of this Washington team, 13 defensive players at 30-plus last year, the most in the league by far. Let's turn our attention to Boye Mafe landing a 3-year, $60 million deal and this agreement with the Bengals. We talked about the Bengals. Jeremy mentioned it. They're trying to get on every defensive guy they possibly can. How do you like this fit to make them better? He comes from the Seahawks, just winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, look, they're going to need to get it out of him this year as far as his ability to kind of ramp up his pass rush win rate, his pressure percentage. Look, his pass rush snaps, the number of times that he actually rushed the passer ticked down this year. They had so many people in Seattle that they could rotate through there. Look, this contract for him signifies what they're expecting out of him, which is not to be a part of a rotation, but to really be a guy who's look, on third down, they're going to be saying this. Al Golden, the defensive coordinator, is going to be like, go. We need you now. So he's going to, like, what they're expecting of him has really ticked up relative to what he had to do in Seattle, given all the horses that they had.
And this happens to Super Bowl teams sometimes. They start losing guys. Boye Mafe, Kenneth Walker, Kobe Bryant. There's been a few players off of this Seattle team that have gone to other destinations, getting the attention, the paydays that they deserve, right? But you wonder what John Schneider may do, if he'll get active in any way, shape, or form quickly.
I think defensively he doesn't have to. I think defensively he understands how much this was a unit, not necessarily only about one player.
And he's been as good as anyone at being able to find players, whether it be in the veteran free agent market or the draft, and develop them. And with Mike McDonald, look, you're kind of like, man, I can give this dude to anybody. He'll find a way to utilize him.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know, Sam Darnold, anybody? Okay, we're just getting started here on NFL Live. Massive day here in free agency across the NFL. Names are flying off the board. And Patrick Mahomes getting another weapon. We just talked about him. Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP. Will he be the missing piece for this Chiefs team? Stay tuned to see what our guys say about this trade and why it could take the Chiefs right back to the Super Bowl. Plus, Isaiah Likely headed to the Big Apple, reuniting with John Harbaugh. Shefty has the latest on this trade. Dan talks about what it means for Jackson Dart. That's next. Here's what the big board looks like. You see a few more green highlighted names on there because just in the last few minutes, some of these guys have been agreeing to some NFL with us here on NFL Live. And as Shefty told us top of the show, Super Bowl MVP running back Kenneth Walker III joining the Chiefs. Walker himself taking to X, showing his excitement to join Chiefs Kingdoms. His new quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, excited about the move, as you might expect, tweeting out, "Let's go." There's no context there, but we just all assume that's what he's talking about. Okay, how about this? Kenneth Walker III becomes the 4th Super Bowl MVP to change teams that offseason, and the first on the offensive side of the ball. He heads to Kansas City, a team that reached 5 Super Bowls in 6 years before missing the playoffs at 6-11 last year. So good news on that running back front. Travis Kelce set to return as well. Dan, what do you make of the news out of Kansas City today?
I think it's a great signing in Kansas City. They didn't have a back. They were the only team in the NFL that didn't have a back last year to rush for an average of 4 yards. They had one carry by a running back go over 20 yards. One. Just wrap your brain around that. So the burden that they have asked, not only on their offense, but specifically on Patrick, is just not real. Kenneth Walker comes. He just went on one of the great postseason runs we've seen from a back in a while. Make guys miss when they're unblocked. Constantly, we saw that patience, hesitation, falling forward, getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards. If you give that to Patrick Mahomes, this offense is going to be just fine and more resembling what they were a couple years ago. So it was a need for Kansas City. I like the fact that Brett Veach, their general manager, was aggressive in doing it. And I think it starts this kind of turning of the page of what the identity of this offense is going to be. For a couple years, it was Chuck and Duck, right, Lewis? Now it's got to be a little bit more balanced. Let's run at you and then allow our quarterback to be the best player on the field.
I don't think there was any question that this is the road that they were going to head down, whether it be via the veteran free agent market or the draft, that being making the running game a priority this offseason for a couple of different reasons. One, because the football team needs it, because it's just too out of whack. It's just too unbalanced. There's just too much to put on Patrick Mahomes. Number two, Patrick is coming off of a knee injury. and you can't expect him to run around and carry the burden as far as being able to pick up yards outside of structure the way he has been tasked with doing. Number 3, why do you think they brought Eric Bieniemy back? Number 1, because he is a hard-nosed, tough football coach who believes in old-school fundamentals. It's not really old school. I mean, the teams that are really successful, like the Seattle Seahawks, like the New England Patriots this year, they run the football. They run the football because we understand how important it is to establishing the identity and taking some of the burden off of the quarterback. And look, Kenneth Walker just came from the place where they won the Super Bowl doing it. He understands what the task requires. And I'm telling you what, I think Kansas City is going to help out their offensive line this year in a way that they have not done since Patrick has been there. You will see, I think, a totally different mentality with this offense in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, since Mahomes became the starter in 2018, he is Kansas City's leading rusher.
Yeah.
I can't say it with a straight face because it is really ridiculous. Patrick, he can get some sneaky yards, but he should not be the leading rusher. The Chiefs also made an addition to the defensive line today, according to our Peter Schrager. Defensive tackle Kairos Tonga to the Chiefs for sources. You like it, Lewis?
I do, because this is the kind of thing that really complements Chris Jones, right? So on the inside, you need a guy who I don't like to say space eater, but a guy who does not allow the offensive line to reset the line of scrimmage. Chris Jones can do his thing, the quick swims, the penetrations that he gets upfield. I mean, this is a great complementary signing at the defensive tackle position.
Yeah, Chris Jones can be the MVP of that side of the ball. Just might need a little, including at cornerback Cordell Flott, one of 2 major corner additions today. And you can see some of the other names. Wan'Dale Robinson, a big one there as well. Don't forget about that. All right, Adam Schefter, another name to look out for. Let's start for a new home for Travis Etienne.
Yeah, how about the New Orleans Saints for Travis Etienne? He gets a 4-year, $52 million deal. He will become the newest weapon for Tyler Shuck. They also go and reach an agreement with David Edwards, the Buffalo Bills guard, so they upgrade the offensive line. They upgrade the run game. The Saints get better on the offensive side of the football today. And in the same division, the Carolina Panthers reached agreement with Jalen Phillips on a 4-year, $120 million deal, including $80 million in guaranteed money. There was a lot of interest in Jalen Phillips. I believe that might be the biggest deal in free agency for a non-quarterback that we've seen in quite some time, if ever. And then, of course, there was earlier in the day the Dallas Cowboys trade for Rashan Gary, who announced on Friday that he was leaving Green Bay. So he knew something was coming. He said he was hacked.
Hacker.
Whoever hacked that account, I want them to hack my account and break news like that. Rashan Gary goes to the Dallas Cowboys for a 2027 fourth-round pick, and Dallas reunites him with Kenny Clark. And meanwhile, the Las Vegas Raiders get a huge deal done with Tyler Linderbaum. 3 years, $81 million, an average of $27 million per year. My understanding is that the Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak really wanted Tyler Linderbaum as the quarterback of his offensive line. We expected they'll draft Fernando Mendoza. They now have a quarterback there. They lose Max Crosby along their defensive front, but add the former Ravens Tyler Linderbaum. And here's some of the other notable deals today. Laramie Tunsil cashes in a big extension in Washington. Jalen Watson reunites with Trent McDuffie with the Rams. 2 Chiefs cornerbacks in L.A. Draymond Jones goes to New England. Alante Taylor goes to Tennessee. A lot of players went to Tennessee today, including John Franklin Myers in a 3-year, $63 million deal. Alex Anzalone, the former Lions linebacker, goes to Tampa on a 2-year, $17 million deal. And John Simpson, the Baltimore Ravens, 3 years, $30 million as the money is flying today. There are no discounts on the first day of free agency.
People spend it, over $1 billion already. We'll get you a final total as soon as we can. And if all this is making your brain feel like mush and you're like, man, I need a recap or something, here's the reality. We got you covered on all different platforms. If you're not in front of the TV all afternoon as the news breaks, you can scan that QR code on your screen. That opts you in for all the updates from Adam Schefter, the breaking news alerts. They'll come right to you, and you can stay up to date on the ESPN app, on NFL free agency. The news is going to continue to carry on this week. There's going to be some guys that don't reach these deals until a little bit later on in the week. Let's talk, though, about Tyler Linderbaum. This is a huge one. He's been one of the league's best pass protectors since he entered the league in 2022. The only linemen with a better pass block win rate than Linderbaum over the last 4 years are Joe Thuney and Creed Humphrey, both of whom received extensions the last 2 years. Dan, when you think about what this could mean in this offense, Clint Kubiak does what he does, and they likely take Fernando Mendoza at number 1 overall. Earlier today when this happened, I thought, if I'm Fernando Mendoza, I'm taking a little sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, good. They got me something. They're doing what they can to set Mendoza up for success.
Best thing they could have done for, if Fernando Mendoza is their first pick, their quarterback. I always say this, the best thing you can do for a young quarterback is give him a very good defense. The burden of having to score points is a lot. I think the second best thing you can do is give him a good interior offensive lineman. And a center is the focal point. Fernando Mendoza is really smart. He throws it down the field really well. Obviously a very good year at Indiana. But having the opportunity to go to the NFL and now have a center that can take some of that lift away from him. Where's the run going? What's the defense in? What should we do versus this blitz? And Linderbaum can handle all that. Clint Kubiak's running an offense that is going to be demanding on zone run game, pulling the center, allowing him to move. So the play action element is going to be there. But just having a guy that can do all that while the quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, likely is learning what a defense looks like, I think it's the best thing the Raiders could have done for that young quarterback.
This is about communication and comfort for your new quarterback in Clint Kubiak's offense, which has a ton of motion, has a ton of play action. Those are the things you're going to want a young Fernando Mendoza, if he is their first overall pick. Those are the things you're going to want him to be focused on. And Laura mentioned this earlier. She put on her analyst hat and talked about how excited Ashton Jeanty should be as well. There was no running back contacted behind the line of scrimmage more than Ashton Jeanty was. And if Fernando Mendoza, or the quarterback of the Raiders, is going to have the ability in the play action pass, the run needs to be effective. You can look at this team, even the acquisition of Jalen Naylor, who is great in the slot. Now you have one of those positions that become a comfort position in the center and also in the slot for a young quarterback.
And just like that, breaking news, we go right back to Adam Schefter. This one about Tua Tagovailoa's destination. Go ahead, Adam.
All right, Laura, we mentioned Tua and the Atlanta Falcons. He plans to sign a one-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. That would mean he would be united with Michael Penix. They'd have two left-handed quarterbacks. Makes a lot of sense here. You could see it happening, and Tua is going to wind up in Atlanta on the same day that he gets released from the Miami Dolphins. He now will move on to Tua. He will now go on to Atlanta. That'll be his place where he goes. And Kwity Paye to the Las Vegas Raiders, 3 years, $48 million, 32 guaranteed.
Well, look at that. The Raiders are making a ton of moves. We'll get back to Kwity Paye. Let's continue on with the Tua Tagovailoa conversation. Dan, I'll go back to you. Think about what Kevin Stefanski wants to do there. You got Bijan Robinson on that offense. You got Tommy Rees as the OC. How do you like the fit of Tua plus Michael Penix? Maybe sharing time? Who knows?
It's the right decision by Atlanta. Michael Penix tore his ACL, which I believe is the third of his career, in November. So Atlanta needs a guy that at least can, one, run their whole offseason for the most part. We're talking about a new head coach in Kevin Stefanski and offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. They need somebody to be their starting quarterback in April, in May, in June, and for this whole offseason for this football team. And then you might need a guy that has to start opening day. So you needed someone that was going to be comfortable in that role. The second thing is, you just need somebody to be a point guard. That's what Tua is. It's when he's at his best. This is an offense that is wildly talented in Atlanta. It's a very good offensive line. It would be by far the best offensive line Tua has had to play with in his NFL career. And it's going to be a relatively lateral transition system-wise. It's not exactly the same thing as McDaniel, but it very much so is what Tommy Rees likes to do underneath the center, play action, move the pocket, work the middle of the field. This is the right move by Atlanta.
Yeah, Dan, to your point, the Falcons coaching staff with Kevin Stefanski believe that despite maybe some lack of arm strength with Tua, they can create those yards after catch opportunities. They have weapons. They have Drake London. They have Bijan. They just need to be able to get them the ball. And this, to me, says a lot about Michael Penix because he wants to be back week one. That's not a guarantee. They need somebody who can leave the light on and start 4 games, 6 games, just somebody there. But this tells me they have not given up on Michael Penix. This, too, is clearly not a long-term solution.
Man, cut the light off. Like, honestly, and this is in no way a disrespect to Tua, but if I'm already dealing with Michael Penix, who has knee issues and injury issues, I don't want to have another quarterback in my quarterback room who health, injury, and safety is a concern. I want a quarterback who I believe I can count on, a quarterback who can do some of the things from a physical standpoint that maybe Michael Penix can't do because of some of the injuries. And I know we keep talking about having two left-hand quarterbacks. Man, I don't care if they throw the ball with their forehead, right? You need them to be healthy. And we're saying that he could fit into some of the things that Tommy Rees can do. Mike McDaniel built his entire offense to help Tua Tagovailoa be successful. The reason he got the deal for over 50 plus a year in Miami was because everything there was perfect for him. You want to talk about yards after the catch? Nobody did that the way Tyreek and Jalen Waddle did early on in Tua and Mike McDaniel's tenure. I don't love this. I don't believe this is the right decision. I believe not having a quarterback in that room who you can count on from a safety and injury standpoint was not the move.
But this to me is a backup quarterback signing. I mean, that's really what this is how I look
deal,
at it. They need somebody to hold the fort down.
But you got to feel like with Michael Penix, you're going to get to the backup at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, third ACL tear, that's the reality for him. Penix on his fifth season-ending injury in 8 seasons between the college ranks and the NFL. Dan, you wanted to comment one more thing on Penix or Tua.
RC, I agree with your points, and I'm not sitting here telling everybody that I think this is you are the starting quarterback, but you needed someone who could be the starting quarterback in Atlanta. And while your points are 100% fair and valid, I think the reality is Atlanta and Ian Pace, their new general manager with Matt Ryan, Ian Cunningham, looks at it and goes, we don't have a first-round pick. The other options out there, Kirk Cousins, and the cost has moved on, is Geno Smith, who might have other options. Kyler Murray, who might have other options. And so I think when you're Atlanta and you look back and you look at reality, you need someone who can at least operate your offense for a chance throughout the offseason and the starting of the season. At a minimum.
That's really fair. That's really fair.
And guys, remember, the Dolphins are paying the majority of his salary. The Falcons don't pick until the 48th pick in new spots. Tyler Linderbaum, a big one. We've been talking about big, no pun intended, but he is going to be a massive help for that O-line there in the Raiders. So also the scenario for the Giants, number 19. You see what's going on there with Isaiah Likely. Mark. Oh, now I get what you're trying to say, Mark, our producer. I was getting there, okay? Baltimore, they're losing guys. Linderbaum was one of them. Another one that they lose is Isaiah Likely. He's reunited with Harbaugh, and the Giants reaching the agreement, a 3-year deal for the former Ravens tight end. What do you think about this? How big is this for Jackson Dart in year 2, Dan?
Man, the Ravens have lost a lot of players today. I think this is huge for Jackson Dart and the New York Giants. Isaiah Likely is a tight end that has had some really good moments, averages over 10 yards per catch in his career. And Matt Nagy, who's this offensive coordinator, or the offensive coordinator with the New York Giants, just think of the way that he has used Travis Kelce. Obviously, Isaiah Likely, not Travis Kelce. But the way that he's used him, envision that in New York now. Isaiah Likely by himself, motions, different ways to find touches for him, create those one-on-one matchups. And for a young quarterback, the information that he'll be able to gather for Jackson Dart with some of those different formations and motions, I think is going to be a big deal. Also, the ability of the broken play under Jackson Dart and Isaiah Likely having a little bit of that in his background, obviously playing with the great Lamar Jackson. This is a massive, massive addition to New York's offense.
Yeah, I love the picture you painted there of what their offense may look like. Exciting to think about if you're a Giants fan. And big day for Gang Green with the Jets bringing in 4 defenders already. They dealt a 7th-round pick to the Dolphins for safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. Will give him a new $40 million deal. They added veteran edge rushers in Joseph Osai and Kingsley and Igbare, and will welcome back old friend Demario Davis, their 3rd-round draft pick back in 2012. Jets running back Breece Hall, who was looking for a new deal and was recently franchise tagged by the Jets, had this reaction to all the Jets' moves today, posting on X, dang, sure got a lot of money in Florham Park, all of these contracts dudes signing. I like it, Breece, throw it out there a little bit. All that money going into the defense in New York. Lewis, the picture isn't complete yet, right? We'll see what else they do, but do these current moves make sense to you for the Jets?
Oh, yeah. Look, defensively, this team was abysmal. That's putting it really nicely. Okay, look, you're 31st in points per game. You're 32nd in QBR allowed. You're 30th in sacks per dropback. You're last in interception percentage. You know why? Because you had none. You had 0 interceptions on the season. This football team needed a total house cleaning on the defensive side of the ball. Aaron Glenn's now going to be calling the plays for the defensive side. He's going to be the one who's going to be actually putting the guys in position to succeed. They had to really reset this entire entire side of the ball. And he did that with some high-quality people. Look, I love the fact that you go out and you sign guys, or you acquire guys like Minka Fitzpatrick and Demario Davis. What you're saying is right down the middle, just like we did when I was back in Washington, when we had this guy named Ryan Clark and Sean Taylor, right down the middle at the command and control center. You need people who can stand in front of this defense and go, all this crap we've been putting out there before, that's got to stop.
Yep.
It's got to stop now, because those are the guys who talk, and those are the guys that people are going to have to listen to. This is a total reset on this side of the ball.
Tone setters for sure. And as Sheffy mentioned earlier, pass rusher Jalen Phillips has agreed to a 4-year, $120 million deal with the Carolina Panthers. Carolina adding some key capital, $80 million in guarantees. You like this signing, RC?
I do like this signing. And for Jalen Phillips, it tells you how important it was for him to get to Philadelphia and show those signs of steady excellence that we didn't see in Miami due to the injury. And if you're the Carolina Panthers, you couldn't create a pass rush on the outside. You didn't have the ability to win one-on-ones. And if you go back to the Rams game, when they had to start to bring pressure later on in that game in order to move Matthew Stafford off the spot. Derek Brown is there in the middle on the outside, especially at the corner position with J.C. Jackson and Mike Brown. You have big-time players. So to add a player at Jalen Phillips' level that could get to the quarterback in four-man rush was a big get and priority for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers pressured the quarterback on 27% of their dropbacks last season. That was 31st in the NFL. He's going to help that. He's going to change that. He's going to be getting to the QB, guys. All right.